Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to my very first Israelite Christian podcast broadcast. This platform is being created to speak truth and give clarity and to explain the things that haven't, or should I say, have been hidden in the Christian world forever. That's why the term is Israelite Christian, because ooh, excuse me, the Gentile Christians tried to come with replacement theology and replace the Israelite Christian. So that's what this show about. In this podcast, I'm going to share my personal journey, years of persecution that I have faced within what is known as the conscious community, the YouTube community, based off the conscious community, and they claim to be about truth and awakening, yet they jealous, desperate, and everything else. Everything that they do is based off of my blueprint that I set on this internet. And I'm here to tell about that journey. I'm here to tell about my years of persecution by dealing with the Africa Bambaataa situation that happened in the conscious community. I found the government informant, didn't know, and the conscious community turned the government informant against me. I don't know what all we're going to talk about here, people, how long we going to talk about it. But I have been a podcaster since the beginning. Blog Talk Radio is where I started. It's where I started my online ministry. I didn't come out say I was an Israelite, a Christian. I didn't say I was a Hebrew Israelite, none of that stuff. I just came out and ministered to people and told about the daily operations that was going on in the conscious community. I was battling and fighting against the Arm and Ra squad as a group, the leader, Uncle Tet, Ishmael Bey, all of them over there. Eventually, I I went to Atlanta and debated Dr. Mayat, who they initiated into their order at that time. Dr. Mayat was a government informant that most people may know because of young Pharaoh. She was trying to get him locked up. A lot of things I've been through, people. But the title of this show is Online Israelite Christian Content Creator, which is me. Mental stability exposed like never before. So if you don't know what an Israelite Christian is or never heard it, welcome to the show. Hopefully you get some understanding. But this is all about my mental stability online because, like I said, I've been persecuted like crazy. I've been persecuted like crazy by the conscious community. And as I said, I went to the hip hop community through the conscious community, dealing with the Africa Bambaataa date rape thing, and everybody online spazzed out on me. They turned against me because they loved their leader, Hassan Campbell, a New York guy that went on YouTube and became famous by arguing and fighting with Farrakhan. Farrakhan never said nothing back. Jay Prince and any other celebrity, Mano, Mason Beth been beside him. Everybody and their mama has been beside Hassan Campbell and helping him rise to fame. Sarnetta, all these people. This is what I've been fighting against since the last, I would say, 8 years. I've been persecuted by the government informant that y'all might know. Y'all may have seen him on TV and in the magazines and stuff, Khalil Money. He's a government informant, someone that informed on Yahweh ben Yahweh back in the 80s. It came out in the 90s and hit the scene in the 90s and stuff, and the government made him famous. As he liked to play audio that I said, he is a national treasure. This is something I was telling somebody. They heard the audio, they got the snippet, and he put it up. I'm a national treasure. It's cool, you're a national treasure, but me being beside the national treasure makes me what? Whatever you want to call me. I'm not ashamed to be called whatever you want to call me, because I am a Israelite by nationality and I'm a Christian by faith. The term that the Gentiles put on the first Israelites that follow Christ. Most people don't know that. I put that out there. The government informant tried to persecute me on it, because I was out here talking about Hebrew Israelite. It's not a proper term. It's not in the Bible. None of that. Now, when he talked about Israelite Christian, he couldn't say that Christian is not in the Bible. It's in there 3 times. But he tried to use my mental and use my methodology against me. Well, it ain't written in the Bible. No, Israelite Christian is not written in the Bible. See, I can say that. A Hebrew Israelite won't say that. Well, it's in there. Let's go over here. Paul said Hebrew and Israelite. It don't say Hebrew Israelite. And they can't find it nowhere else. But I can find my nationality as an Israelite in the Bible. And I can find my faith in Christ in the Bible. And I can put them together, because I am the author and the finisher of my thoughts. I have full sovereignty over my thoughts. No other man can come along and tell me that I can't say or do what it is I do. The only man that can tell me anything is the one that died and went to heaven. And his name was Jesus Christ, once again, who I put my faith in. And this is the thing that's going on. It's going to hit these YouTube podcast streets like never before, because you never heard the term Israelite Christian used in this century. William Armstrong used it last century. A European that said he was an Israelite. And because he believed he was an Israelite, which he could have been an Israelite, we deal with the whole dynamics of Israel only, which most people misunderstand. They come out here and say it's all about Israel, but they won't make everybody Israel, because it is all about Israel. But if you're not Israel, you don't get nothing. This is where my fight against the Hebrew Israelites come in, because Hebrew Israelites, to be Pacific, Black Hebrew Israelites, is a racist terminology that some men's Israelites back in the whatever came up with, because the Jewish man said, don't be calling yourself Judah no more, a Jew no more. Don't be using them terms. Them are terms. That's what the Edomite told them, and punked them out, took their manhood, made them bend over, as they like to say in the streets, and I like to represent the streets just like the Bible. So the Ashkenazi Jew told them black guys, don't be saying it no more, and they came up with the term Black Hebrew Israelite and pushed it from the 70s to now. It was here before the 70s. So they reached back and grabbed something and they pushed it as a doctrine, and the whole world has been indoctrinated in it. In the Roman Christian world, apologists and preterists and everything else love to go against the Hebrew Israelites, because they are a false fashion of Israelites. And they beat them up. They do them bad. And that's why y'all should understand, I have never called myself a Hebrew Israelite, because I've never wanted to get beat up by nobody. I've always wanted to be the one to beat people up. So why would I call myself something that get beat up and do all of that. It's like the movie Creed. If Apollo Creed kept getting knocked out, why would his son want to go in the boxing ring and say, I'm Apollo Creed Jr.? Oh, we're going to knock you out like we used to do your daddy. But see, the Israelite nation as a whole has warriors, fighters, and everything. I could go in the Bible and say, I'm like Abraham. I'm like Isaac, I'm like Jacob, I'm like David, I'm like Solomon, I'm like this and I'm like that. And that is a history of winners. I'm like Jesus Christ, who was an Israelite. But when I started out, I went to a church in Chicago, Illinois. It was on 75th. Now it's in Riverdale, called the Israel of God. I love that church. They was Hebrew Israelites, and I didn't know it because they never said they was Hebrew Israelites when I was around. Therefore, I was sitting around in bliss. I didn't know I was sitting around with Hebrew Israelites. And I went there for some months. And then a brother that was there that had a problem with them in some shape, form, or fashion, I don't know the history, left there. His name was Danny Ashcroft, who now owns the location that the first Israel of God was at. It's called the House of Jacob. I went to his class for years. Then a brother there, they had an issue or whatever. I don't know the history of it. He left. His name was Marlon Ewan. He was on North Avenue in Chicago. And I stayed pretty much on North Avenue, just a street up from where I stayed. I can hit North Avenue and go right to his church. So I left the House of Jacob, which was on the west side, and started going to the COI, the Church of Israel, with Marlon Ewan. And I stayed there and I did what I needed to do to serve the church, to serve the people, and get an eldership. Now, when I got the eldership, my mother had cancer. My father had died. My mother came up with cancer. And I had to bring her to Arkansas because she wanted to come to Arkansas. None of the other children was capable of doing it. I was capable of doing it because I've always had a rebel spirit. I've never graduated from high school, none of that stuff. But that don't diminish who I am at all. I knew it then, I know it now. But people try to come at me because of my lack of a high school diploma and going to major public institutions, joining sororities, this and that. This is what the government informant try to use on me and floss on me. He try to use government money and his DJ K Slade hip hop ties and 50 Cent ties and stuff to try to come at me. But this is the first episode, people. I just want to put some things out there and let y'all know that I'm back in the podcast world. I have no problem being in the podcast world because I started out in the podcast world. I bring some of the blog talk radio shows over here and let y'all see my history from the beginning on podcasts and the things that I talked about. You'll never hear me say I'm a Hebrew Israelite. You'll never hear me say things like I said in the beginning of this podcast. I've never said these things. And you can hear the history of what I've been laying down since the beginning. My stalkers since 2017 don't know nothing about that history. He can't even go and research the history because Blog Talk Radio is not even in action now. If you're a Blog Talk Radio, person that left from there and over here now, show some love to a fellow Blog Talk. We used to be brothers and sisters. We all work together over there. Show some love. Subscribe to the podcast, to the YouTube channel, and everything else. I'm finna get up out of here, people. I just wanted to lay a foundation, solid foundation for my very first show. If you're an Israelite, this show is for you. If you're a Christian, this show is for you. If you're a non-believer, this show is for you. So join us as we podcast daily over here on YouTube. Peace. I'm out.